Hey everybody, I'm just gonna sit around and take it easy today, have some nice coffee, talk about the Canon R5, R6, the new Blackmagic Design 12K camera. So just grab a drink, sit down, and we'll shoot the breeze. If you have any questions or comments and you like this video, please like it, leave a comment down below, leave a question, concern, anything like that. I'd love to have a conversation with you. So come on, let's engage. So yeah, some of the things I really like about the Canon R5, definitely the 8K. I mean, come on, 8K, only 30 frames per second, but it's gigantic files, you know. I don't know if that's really too usable, but it's gonna look damn good. And their color science is amazing. I love the 120 frames per second that Peter McKinnon, some of his shots that he's shown, just look amazing, breathtaking, absolutely breathtaking. It's kind of disappointing that they didn't get the RAW in the 4K and the 1080p, some of the frame rates and everything, but I guess their firmware update might solve some of these issues. And obviously a lot of the overheating everybody's heard about, that's a bit of a bring down, but I think that if you're using it in a manner, like, you know, a lot of people are taking just simple shots that don't really take like a huge, like 8 minutes or even, you know what I mean? Like a little shot only takes a couple minutes, half the time, more than half the time, I don't know. I find that quite often. I take a few shots here and there, and it just depends on how you use the camera, right? Like if you're buying that camera as a video camera, then you may be disappointed if you're planning on shooting bands that play for over half an hour. And if you planned on shooting that in 8K, then I don't think that's the right camera for you. But if you're just getting nice little shots here and there, like I could see it working at a wedding reception, at wedding parties and stuff like that, especially if it's not your only camera. And quite often, a lot of these wedding professionals have a lot more than one camera. Maybe they'll have a camera like I'm using right now. I'm using my trusty old Canon HFG40 just for HD video. It looks fantastic. It's only 30 megabits, sorry, per second. And it does 60p. That's what I have it in now. And for this, like, you know, does it have to be the absolute best lens? Does it have to be Leica? Does it have to be, you know, 8K? Does it? I don't really think so. I don't think people really need to see my ugly nose in 8K or my disgusting teeth. Or maybe they do. I don't know. I'm not the guy to decide. But, you know, I think it's all, with everything relevant and everything like that, it's a good camera. It's a good idea in principle. Some of the things that another thing I should say that I find a little disappointing about it is that they proclaim that it's going to have a dual card system, and it's not, like, it is a dual card system. One's CFast and one's SD. And I kind of thought they would make it like maybe 2 CFast and 2 SD cards, something like that, so that you have a backup and you don't lose everything if something were to happen. I thought that's what they meant. And it's cool that the Canon R6 has that, though. I believe it has dual SD cards, which is pretty cool. And the Canon R6 definitely has a lot of the features people have been looking for in a 4K camera from Canon. Their IBIS is fantastic, I hear. And a lot of the features that people have been looking for with the autofocus working in 4K and very, very minimal cropping and stuff like that with the higher frame rates, it's definitely like very close to what people are like some conspiracy camera guy and people like that are looking for the perfect camera. I think that this is a lot closer probably than that Fuji X-T4 or some of the other cameras that have been, you know, touted. And then there's the Blackmagic Design 12K. And a lot of people are saying, well, they really upped Canon on this one. But I mean, that's a completely different beast. It's a video camera. This thing is a video-centric video camera. You know what I mean? It's a gigantic body, room for fans and heat sinks and all that jazz. And they've come up with a completely new design for their chip and everything, where it's like this multi-layered, I think Sony's getting into that with their A7S III. So that's pretty interesting too. I can't wait to see what they come out with. But anyway, back to the Blackmagic Design. The features on this camera are just amazing. Like interchangeable lens mounts. You can use any lens on this thing. It sure is 10 grand, but the value for your money with 12K, like you can't get anything like this for that price, honestly. And that price will eventually come down too. And this whole technology is gonna trickle down to other cameras. Blackmagic Design, I'm sure, will come out with a new little pocket camera. Maybe not 12K, but who knows? Those guys are insane. Seriously, the next pocket camera could be a 12K pocket camera, knowing those guys. They're just absolutely nuts. And they'll make room for heat sinks and fans and shit, and it won't be a pocket camera by any stretch of the word. And it'll be fantastic though, I'll bet. And it probably won't even have autofocus or anything, but their color science is amazing. They've come up with this new, I think it's their 5th generation color science, with 15 stops for fantastic skin tone or something like that, and it looks absolutely stunning. Like, you know, they're really keeping up with Canon, I believe. I honestly believe that they're probably one of the only cameras that look as rich in color with very cinematic tones and stuff like that. You probably would be hard pressed to find anything cheaper than what Blackmagic Design offers to get those kind of results. And sure, it doesn't have a lot of, like their pocket cameras don't have IBIS, they don't have autofocus tracking and a lot of features that like vloggers want. But you know, obviously it's not made for vloggers. So if you're a vlogger, that's definitely not the camera for you. And I think it's kind of the same with the new Canon R5. I wouldn't think that that would be a good vlogging camera whatsoever, but it's great for shots, setting up shots, and even like doing little shots on, like for vlogging perhaps, you know, not like long lengthy things, just little things here and there, like Peter McKinnon was doing, little shots on the road here and there, and then you take the best little snippets of it for action and stuff in 8K, and then it looks fantastic. Like, honestly, if you have a little drone or something, not a little drone, but those drones that can carry a camera like that, then you're laughing, like, because those things only can fly for so long anyway, right? So you're gonna get nice little 10-minute shots up in the air of beautiful 8K and stuff like that. There's so many fantastic uses for 8K too. People are poo-pooing a little on that, oh, we don't need 8K, but really, it's not really so much about using 8K on, like, to show one screen with 8K on an 8K television, because I hardly think most people would even really notice, but the difference, because it's just not that fantastic of a difference. Like the 8K TVs, I've seen some people testing 8K and 4K TVs. I forget which YouTuber it was. Some British YouTuber I was watching was testing the difference between 4K and 8K, and some of the 4K ones actually look better, unbelievably so. And I think it's really about being able to punch in, as most people have already been able to imagine. But just think of your telescopic abilities. If you have like a 600 millimeter or something, and you're at the furthest end of that, and then you still want to be able to punch in, like HD is just the tiniest little window in a 12K camera. People are saying, oh, that's too much. I didn't ask for 12K, but it could be so useful. I don't know if it's so useful all the time for your average person, but I think that, like, if you're just setting up a 12K camera in a room somewhere and you don't know exactly where the action is going to happen, then that would be a fantastic tool to have, because then you can frame your action after it happened, because you didn't know where it was going to happen, right? And then you'll still have great resolution no matter where it happened in that frame. So you could have like like say on a giant warehouse scene, and for some reason you don't know where everything's going to go down, right? So you could just set that up right there and capture it all and then punch in on it. Imagine for security purposes. Man, I know it's kind of an expensive camera to buy for security purposes, but man, if you did. I heard Linus Media Group is buying 6 of them. They bought 5, and then you're only allowed to buy 5, I guess, so they bought another one off one of their employees' personal account. And they were talking about that on their WAN show. I love the WAN show, by the way. Linus, great shit. But they were talking about some of the uses beyond just normal filming, and you should go check that out because it was a very interesting conversation with Luke and Linus about that, about having 12K Blackmagic Design cameras, the usefulnesses of it, and the obvious more coffee is needed. Yeah. So yeah, I think I'm coming to the end of what things I was thinking about it. Some of the Canon R5 things, the overheating issues, the dual card system seemed kind of, you know, a little iffy. But it still has the great weatherproofing bodies. And also, yeah, don't just pre-order things until you see people try them out. I think that's kind of silly. I mean, obviously, if you're into reviewing and you want to get a copy before they're out to most people, then yeah, I think that obviously makes sense. But like for your general public, I wouldn't pre-order these cameras until they've actually been tested thoroughly by people, and then you can get a chance to see how they're working, if there's any problems with them, and you know what I mean? I think that just makes the most sense, and it's really hilarious to see people jumping on this bandwagon of pre-ordering things lately. Pre-ordering the Sony A7 if you're allowed to. I don't know if you're allowed to do that yet, but man, watch out. Nobody knows what it's like yet. Why would you pre-order and spend that much money on something? I think that's kind of silly. It's coming from a guy who doesn't have much money. So if you like this, have any questions, comments, concerns, you want to take part in this conversation, leave a comment down below, and I'd gladly take part in any conversation, and give it a big old thumbs up. And if you don't, then don't give it a big thumbs up. Just don't. I'll see you next time.